Hi everyone. Can you hear me? Please write in the chat box if I'm audible.
Audible.
Okay. So here I've got the link. So I'm going to open FreeNAS on the browser. So I show you FreeNAS screen here. Okay, please write in the chat box if you are able to see the FreeNAS login. And here I'm going to log in as root and password. Login. You already know how we can create Windows, Unix, and Apple shares. In this class, we will learn about how we can create iSCSI shares. iSCSI block sharing differs from the sharing that we have done before, because in that case, Apple sharing, Windows sharing, and Unix sharing was file-based sharings. Means because we were sharing the pools and volumes in that case. iSCSI protocol allows FreeNAS to act as SAN, which is storage area network, over the Ethernet, over the current Ethernet, right? So in this case, we will be using block sharing, right? So for that, I'll first tell you little terminology about iSCSI protocol. Firstly, as I've explained you, iSCSI allows FreeNAS that it acts like the storage area network. All of you know that. What's the difference between SAN and NAS? SAN allows us block level sharing, which means that the blocks will act like the individual hard disks, right? That can be accessed over the network. So the first terminology is CHAP, which means the Challenge Handshake Authentication Protocol. So in iSCSI, we have the initiator that performs the CHAP, right? So this is the kind of authentication that makes sure the other person is to which the target is authenticated, right, to access the blocks. Next, we have the mutual CHAP. Mutual CHAP is the superset of CHAP. In this case, mutual CHAP is implemented by the initiator and the target as well. So this is totally optional if you want to uh, implement CHAP in the practical or not. You can totally skip this also. Next, we have the initiator. So initiator is a client who has authorized access to the storage data on the FreeNAS. Next, we have the target. So target is basically a storage resource on the FreeNAS, right? So in this case, every target has a unique name, which is also called as iSCSI qualified name, IQN numbers, right? Then we have the extent. So extent is the storage unit that we want to share. So this can be either a file or device. In this case, it will be a device. Then we have the portal. So in this case, portal indicates the IP address uh, and the port that we want for the connection, right? Then we have the ZWalls. Now, ZWall is the dataset in FreeNAS which allows us to access the blocks. In case of the dataset that we create while creating Windows shares or the Unix shares, we're able to see the directories or the files in a volume, but the ZWall will allow us to share the blocks. So this is the difference between ZWall and the dataset, right? So ZWall is actually it's a feature of ZFS file system, so which creates a raw block device over the ZFS, right? So this volume can be used as an iSCSI device extent, means we will be using Z volume as the extent in iSCSI protocol while implementing that. And as you know that the block storage, it's a storage that can be deployed in SAN, storage area network. And in that case, each block in a block level storage system can be controlled as the individual hard drives, right? And in this case, the blocks will be managed by the server. However, in case of SMB and CIFS, we have implemented file-based sharing. Okay, so let's start with creating the iSCSI blocks. I hope you can see the FreeNAS login. So here we are going to sharing, and I'm going to click this block iSCSI. So these are the steps you can see. We just have to follow some few steps in order to create the iSCSI share. Firstly, we need to review the target configuration. The first step is that reviewing means this is the number, IQN number the target is having, right? So just simply review it. That's it. Secondly, we need to create one portal. So we'll be adding one, right? So here, if we want any authentication method, we can choose that, CHAP or mutual CHAP. If we do not want any, you can go ahead, right? So this is the IP address and port, save it. So you can write some comments here. So we have created one portal. Next is we need to determine which hosts are allowed to connect using iSCSI, and we need to create an initiator. So in the initiator, we are going to add the third step, all. I'm going to select all initiators and all authorized networks. You can also specify some IP addresses if you want. So save it. So the basic configuration says use all. In the next step, we need to decide the authorization. If you want, but in that case, I haven't selected any. So I'm going to skip this. Next, I'm going to create a target. So in this case, we need to create a target, and here we need to add the target name. So let's go back and get the target name. Let's first create the target. So from here, I'm going to select the base target name, and we go to target and add. So maybe I want to use target 1. So the portal that we need to select, no authentication method I want to use, and save. Next, we need to create a device extent, and in this case, we need extent name. So in this case, extent is Z volume. For that, I first need to check whether we actually have that extent or not. So let's go to storage, pools, and here I'm going to check. We have ZVol in pool. So this is a Z volume that we have created. How to create it? By simply clicking over here, add a ZVol, right? So this is for the purpose of blockchain. This will act as the device extent. So going back to the sharing, and I'm selecting iSCSI where we were adding the extent. I'm going to add one. So the name of the extent was ZVol1. So this is device pool ZVol1. So this is the location of that ZVol1, right? And save. Extent has been created. Next is we need to associate the target with the extent. So check out the associated, add one. What is the target? Target is this one. LUN ID, just a minute. In this case, I'm going to make it one, right? And save. So this association has been created. So this is the share. These were the steps. So it's very simple. You just need to follow these portals in order to create the iSCSI block share. So this is done for this. Any doubt in creating iSCSI block shares? So I'm going to quickly repeat the steps. Firstly, we need to review the target global configuration. This will automatically appear in your FreeNAS device. Secondly, we need at least one portal. You simply need to add the portal from here. Thirdly, we need to determine which hosts are allowed uh, to connect using iSCSI and create an initiator. So for that, we will be selecting all. Next, we need to create a target. Right, if you want to perform CHAP, you can go ahead and create a group and add users to the group, as I've explained previously also. Next, going to target, added a target. So extent is the device. ZVol act as the extent in iSCSI block share. So next is the associated target. We need to associate the extent with the target that we have created. Any doubts in creating iSCSI shares?
No, ma'am.
Okay, good. So this was the topic. One topic, shares are done. All these shares, Apple shares, Unix shares, WebDAV, Windows, iSCSI. So these are the file based. This one is the block sharing based. For the other shares, we always create the data sets to be shared. Whenever we're working with iSCSI, we create ZVol. It's a feature of ZFS file system. So this was about share. Another topic is the plugins and jails. For that, you need to understand the jails. Jail is a component. It's a small operating system which separates, means which add a layer, which add a wall between any application, and it acts as a wall with FreeNAS and any application, right? So means that jail help uh, FreeNAS to not connect with that particular application if you want to install any sort of plugin. So jail will act like a component in which we will be able to execute, or like we will be able to install the plugin, so that plugins stay in the container in the FreeNAS, right? So whenever we are creating plugins, jails are automatically created. We can also create a jail by simply clicking here, adding a jail with the jail name, and the release, right? Okay, but how I'll be telling you is whenever we are creating the plugins, a jail will automatically be created. In this case, I'm going to plugin and we are going to check the available plugins. Plugin, okay, plugin is the extra functionality that we want to add. So there are many available plugins that we can install, update, delete according to the requirement. So here you can see the list of plugins. The functionality is written, what that the purpose of that plugin is. Access share for protecting the files, the Plex, media server systems. Then we have the cloud sync, backup manager, all these plugins. Okay, if I want to install one, first I need to check the internet connection. For that, I'm going to shell, and here I'm going to write ping google.com in order to check the internet connection. So this is fine. Whenever you want to come outside any loop, press Ctrl plus C. Okay, so this is fine. I'm going back to the plugin and I'm going to available plugins, and then from here we can install any plugin like this. Install this. When we want to install it, so this is the dynamic connection that has been selected. So if I do not do that, we select the connection and then save it and install the plugin. It's taking a lot of time to install. It's 75% done, but it's still taking a lot of time. So what will happen when this plugin is installed? We will be checking it in the tab, and then we will be able to see a jail created along with the plugin, right? And the installed plugin. And from the three dots to the right, we will be able to update the plugin, delete the plugin. If you have any doubt in this, please ask. So the plugin is installed. Now you can see that for this plugin, a jail is automatically created, right? The container for that particular plugin. So this is what we wanted. Now from the three dots, we get the options like we want to update it, delete it, stop using this plugin, right? We need to check this when we are currently using that. We check that, right? If we want to stop it, we can stop it from here. Or if we want to delete this plugin, we can delete it. If you want to update, we want to update. That's it. You can install any plugin like this.